What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Rob Bifo here with another Hot Toys review. And today, this is kind of unlikely, a little bit rare for my channel here. We have a Marvel Hot Toys review, and that is not any slight against Marvel. I love Marvel. I love the MCU, which is honestly surprising and why I get asked a lot, and people are surprised to hear that I don't collect the Marvel MCU figures from Hot Toys or any 6 scale Marvel figures. Really, I don't really seek those out. I primarily get Star Wars and DC figures as of late. So this one's a bit rare if you're, a regular viewer here, and if you are, welcome back. If not, then I'm glad you're here, and we're going to look at one of the most impressive figures that I've ever had the opportunity to own myself. And I think that's the ultimate. If you take anything away from this review at all, I think my ultimate recommendation, no matter what, before we even get into it, is that if you have the chance to get any sort of like die cast Iron Man War Machine-esque figure from Hot Toys, like if you've been on the fence about one, if whatever it is, if you haven't picked one up yet, I highly encourage you to get one. And just because of the sheer craftsmanship involved in these figures, like I was kind of blown away. This was like I said, this is the first one for me, so I haven't had any Iron Man ones or War Machine ones before this one. I picked this one up from Sideshow when they were doing like this deal. There was like free shipping on them, and I think I had like a coupon. It was around the time they announced the Nightmare Batman 2-pack with the black suit Superman. It was around that time. I went ahead and pulled the trigger for that very reason, because there were some discounts on it, and it was like in my mind, I was just thinking, man, this is going to be the cheapest I could ever pick up a die-cast War Machine-esque, Iron Man War Machine-esque style figure for this price. And he's 2 in 1. You get Punisher and War Machine out of it. So I figured I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm just going to call it a day, and I'm going to get it. And here we are. I got it, and I do not regret it whatsoever. So, but without any further ado, that's before I even get into the review here. I'm recommending that you should get this figure, okay? Now, I'm going to go on and take everything out of the box, and we're going to break this thing down. And if you're still not convinced, then you're probably just not a very big Punisher or a very big War Machine or Iron Man fan, I guess, at that point. So, but either way, guys, I'm going to stop rambling here. I'm going to get maybe stop having you stare at the spinning box here for a while. Now we'll actually start unboxing everything and take a closer look at everything it comes with, the figure, etc. Let's get started. All right, guys. So like I said, let's take a look at this bad boy. First, let's go over the box here. This is actually, there's like a kind of a material, like I don't even know, it's rough. Almost like a sandpaper, but not a sandpaper. So it's kind of there's some roughness to this print on here. It's very cool looking, in my opinion. This looks great. Nice Punisher logo there. Then this part here is kind of like a holograph, like a holographic Pokemon card. Think about that. That's there. And then on this side, this is actually embossed here into the foam. Super cool as well. Then on the back, you have your classic, just your credits and everything like that. Nothing too crazy there. On the bottom, you do just get the Punisher War Machine Armor logo. Video Game Masterpiece Series diecast, all that sorts of fun stuff. And then on the top, you actually have the Marvel Future Fight logo here of the game he is actually based off of, which I've never played. I just thought the figure looked cool. So when you actually open up the box, though, this just slides right out. And this is actually kind of a cool feature here. You might be wondering why, prior to this part of the video, why I had the picture of the shipper there. Well, obviously, because it's kind of got its own custom print on the shipper itself. So I figured I'd show that off rather quickly. You get your instructions that are underneath the bottom of the package. But then, even the foam, like, actual box part has, like, some pretty cool embossed here. Like, this is, like, probably like a millimeter or two deep in here, where it says Punisher War Machine Armor. And then nothing really, like I said, there's the logo and everything on that side there. But then this is just going to pop open right on the top here, and it's a nice snug fit. And once you do, you see the boy himself. You are greeted with the man. You got your Frank Castle head sculpt here, which is really good. Like it's very nicely done. Very I don't know, like the pigmentation looks great. It's got the nice glossy eyes. I never played the game, so I don't really know like how accurate this is to the character model inside of the game. I assume it's probably pretty well done, but given the track record, I never really cared enough to look much into it because obviously I got it for this portion of the figure, obviously. So, but we'll take a closer look at that here shortly. Then you have right here, this is a little neck connector part for if you do attach that head sculpt. But as you see, got all your special hands here. There he is right there. Before we actually take him out or anything though, right here on the bottom, you'll actually see that you have an entire additional extra tray of accessories. So he just comes with a ton of stuff. So I'm not really going to waste any time getting into all that until I take it all out so we can actually take a closer look at it. But first things first here, I did actually cheat a little bit just for these purposes. And no, mine's not broken here or anything. Like I said, I cheated a little bit here just so I could show you how this works rather quickly. So I wasn't struggling like trying to get his head off during the video like later on. So, but I mean, first impressions, though, I mean, come on, like, look at this thing. This thing looks absolutely incredible. Like, like the detailing on it is just spectacular. It's amazing. Like I said, we're going to take a closer look, but either way, so this whole section will actually come out if you're trying to put the additional head in. So with that, there's two pieces here on the head. One that the head pops off of, and then the neck piece. So this is actually going to have its own ball joint that it's pegged into. This one's a little bit more tricky to get off than the head is itself. The head will just pop off like normal, no big deal. But you do just pop off the head, and then you work this thing out too. Didn't really come across any tricks to get them out. You just kind of wiggle a little bit while you're pulling up on this ball joint, and it will come out. It just worries me because this is on a separate joint that I'm always just worried. I'm overly cautious because I did have some bad luck with the figure. I'll get into that here in a little bit. But then once you have that head off, you take this guy, you pop it with the arrow pieces, not arrow pieces, the little, I don't know, flat parts, I guess we'll call them. Pop those down, and then you get your Frank Castle head sculpt, and you just pop it down in there like so, and then you still get a pretty good range of motion despite this thing being like a fixed neck like here. Even with the, I mean, this one gets a lot of motion because you get essentially two ball joint swivels on here. So it's like this part will have its own swivel down towards the bottom, so the neck will move, and then you have the additional ball joint up here for the actual helmet head. So you get a lot of range of motion with that, but that is essentially how you would pop this in there. Not super complicated. The only thing you might have some trouble with, like I said, is this part, but I assure you it will come out. But again, that is why I cheated just a little bit, just to make this process a little bit easier on me in the end. So, but without any further ado here, let's get all the accessories out and take a closer look at everything it comes with. All right, guys, so here is all the accessories that come with the Punisher War Machine figure. So first off here, as you can see, it looked like it came with a lot of stuff, and then when you have it all broken out here, it doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot, but it is a lot more than most. Like, I'll tell you that. My Bespin Leia came with hands. That's it. So, I mean, it comes with a lot of stuff, and these are probably some of my favorite things that it comes with, aside from all the guns and stuff. But either way, first off, let's go ahead and just take a look at these blast effects while we're here. So these are done really well. These look really good. They just have like they're pretty much, this is a translucent material painted like orange, but they look good. They get the job done. Kind of darker down here, fades to a lighter color, and it's kind of spread throughout everywhere on it. They're all kind of the same here. So like this one goes on the smaller minigun here, and it would just click on here. This one goes over his left shoulder, so it just kind of pops into the edge there. And there you have it. Now, since I have this gun out, we'll go ahead and take a look at this. So this will go on the left shoulder here, and it actually is articulated, and it can go up and down and swivel a little bit here. So this will actually stick into his back, and then it can bend upwards, kind of launch over his shoulder like that, and then you can pull it down and like hold it flat so it just kind of like goes back on the side there. We'll see that later on here. And so if you're new around to the channel here, I go through all the accessories, take a closer look at all the figures, and then I actually at the end I have them on the turntable and some poses, and then I kind of break everything down and give kind of my final thoughts with everything. So we'll definitely see all this stuff actually fully attached to the figure here in just a very little bit. So other than that, these little blaster effects here go on to his arm cannons here. So they just pop into the end here, just like so. They just pop in there, and that's pretty much it. You get two of those. And then this one, which is where one of the problems comes in. This was my problem piece, the big mini gun here. All right, the big chain gun. So you get this blaster piece for it, and it clicks into here. Like right in there. And it's weird, it doesn't like center on there. There's always like a piece that seems to not, like it's always cockeyed a little bit once you actually get it on there. You don't notice it while it's actually like attached to him and everything. It just kind of, it's just there and it's shooting out. But as you can see, it doesn't really get like centered onto it, but it's not like problematic or anything. But this boy was one of the problems. So nevertheless though, before I get into the issues I had with him, let's take a look at it here. This one's kind of very simplistically painted. It's all kind of one solid like black color, but there is some little chips and wear and tear around here, just like a little bit in some places. Nothing like insane with the weathering, but some nice little scratches there. Like definitely brings a lot more life into it. Now the cool thing about this one though is it mounts on his shoulder, and then this little like ammo belt kind of clips in to the side here. Oh, gonna make a liar out of me. So it'll clip in. Take this off before it falls. This is exciting. Wow. So it'll clip into the bottom there, but depending on where you are, obviously you see the ball joints right here. So if you mounted this on a shoulder, it would be sitting here like this, but then this would not reach the back. But this actually twists, so you can move it around and have the gun in like different positions. So if you wanted to have the gun pointed one way, like off to the right or whatever, then you presumably could have it here, but if it doesn't reach, you can just twist it up a little bit, maybe pop this out, turn it around. So I like that they added that there, this extra little swivel on this gun, because it does give you the option and the ability, just straight up the ability, to actually move the gun. Because this, like I said, this is not a very long chain, so it can kind of hinder what direction you'll be moving it in if this wasn't there. So that does help quite a little bit. Now, I'm going to do one thing real quick before I get into what broke this. Take a look at the head sculpt so the camera will stop trying to focus on it so much. So like I said, these are two separate pieces, but this will go in there once you take off the other neck piece. Then this slides in, and then you slap that into the ball joint there. So then you have this sort of look to it when he's down inside attached to the figure. But otherwise, though, I think this is a really great head sculpt. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have like, we don't have any real person to, it's based off video game, you know what I mean? So we can't like compare the likeness to anything really. I'm assuming it looks pretty good as a realistic interpretation of the character from the game. Like I said, I have not played the game, so this was the first I actually saw of this character model. Helmet wise, I've seen like the full armor before, but I think the head sculpt's really well done. You got some nice paint job around the hair. You got the little twirl there. If you wanted to, you could almost say this was like evil Superman. You could pop him on a different head and then just bada bing, bada boom. You got like an evil Superman. So, but it looks really good. I like it a lot. It's a really good head sculpt. I actually too, what I do with this little trick here, I have this on display in the case with him, but not like attached to him. I just found this little. You'll see this later in the video too. But I actually, this is just like I honestly don't know where the hell this came from. I found it in a drawer somewhere, and I thought, oh, you know what? I could probably use it as a head sculpt like holder. So yeah, and I just pop it right on here, and then there we go. So I just do that, and now it just looks like a nice little head sculpt display. And I like it because it's not super tall. It's very slim, Like it looks good. It gets the job done for me. Doesn't damage anything. It all works out. So a little trick there. Look for weird stuff like this, and you'll be good to go. So other than that, we'll actually take a closer look at this minigun here. This one has a lot more scuff marks on it and everything. Same kind of paint job, but it does have some more like silver chrome looking highlights up in here, like right here, here, and then along the barrel down here. So this one looks really nice. I like the little more attention to detail here, a little more weathering around it. And then, like I said, the little silver highlights everywhere. And again, the full articulation is also very nice. Well, not full articulation, but I mean the articulation it has, right? Like it's really good for that aspect of it. Then let's take a look at these hands here real quick. So you might be wondering, Rob, why the hell does he have two sets of open hands? Well, that's true to an extent. He does. These ones, though, are kind of these soft rubber fingers here, okay? But these ones are actually fully articulated die cast fingers. So you can actually have this thing doing whatever you want, which is pretty cool. Elsewise, though, they're painted like the exact same way for the most part. As you can see, nothing too crazy with them. They're just like that same, kind of black gunmetal-y color with a little bit of the scrapes kind of going throughout. That's kind of how all the hands are. The right-handed ones, for both sets of hands, well, all sets of hands, I suppose, they have a little bit more of the paint weathering on it. But again, one fully articulated, the other one soft rubber. And then other than that, you have these two fist hands. And again, the right one is a little bit more scraped up than this one. Nothing crazy about these ones. The only thing to really note is that with the open hands, the LED feature will shine through. I don't know why they didn't just include it on here, but I mean, I guess you wouldn't have palm open for it, but this is just completely painted and this, sorry, I had completely off camera. This is just completely painted and filled in, whereas this one actually does allow the light to shine through, so you can turn on the LED arms and have like a repulsor effect coming out of this one. And that also goes for the fully articulated ones. They also work. Now, the only thing that's different in the hands that I have on him right now is the extra gun that comes up here on his fist. So this is all actually a part of this hand. So you get another set of hands. I just have both of them on him right now. So obviously for me, like it was War Machine, so I put all the gun attachments on that I possibly can. But that is the only real difference there, is just that you get these additional kind of weapons that come out of it right there. So that's really about it, other than the base here. We'll take a look at. This is the Punisher War Machine armor. Very nice, vibrant base here. Honestly, to me, I'm colorblind, so don't take this to heart. But it's coming through, at least on camera. It looks more bluish to me, but in person to me, it looks a bit more purple and not quite as vibrantly blue as it is on here, but it is nice and reflective, as you can see. It's a pretty cool base, nothing crazy by any means. And then, oh yes, one more thing, which we'll kind of have to do while the figure is in hand here. So there are these little pieces here. They're like these little tiny missiles, okay? But the cool thing is with these is you got to get the figure out so I can actually demonstrate this. So these little sections here on his chest, they pop up. And then these are magnetized. So you just drop them in and you have some chest missiles. Just like so. I don't know, maybe I put these on the wrong side. Oh, there you go. So then you have these. So then you can have more and more and more and more guns on them. This is exactly how I have them posed, other than the last bit here, which are more optional gun attachments. So with these bad boys, what you do is these can go on both of his arms. So underneath right here, this arm plate just pops right off like so. And then you take this, pop her in right here, and it just clicks in the two pegs. So now you have even more guns on your War Machine figure. Why would you not? I say, why would you not? Like, look at this. So now when he's looking at you with these hands, you got these guns, the handguns, and the underneath forearm guns all coming at you full blast. Now, again, with this fist hand, the repulsor light would not shine through this one either. They have it completely filled in solid there. But that right there are the only really two, I don't know, additional attachments and like kind of neat things about all the gun attachments. I like the optional things. Like, they have these, you can take them off, get a more clean look. Same with yes and no for the chain gun part, because if you don't put the minigun on, you just have a ball peg sitting there. But now, before we get into the actual review, actually, no, first, I lied. Let me correct myself. I'm going to get rid of all the accessories here. Then I'll get into more detail about this ball peg and this minigun, which was the only problem thing I ran into on mine. And then we'll take a much closer look at the figure himself, get him into some poses, and then kind of give my final overall thoughts on the Punisher War Machine figure. All right, so now we have him here. So let's actually take a little bit of a closer look at the War Machine figure himself. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. So, first off, before we get into any of the special details here, let's just take a look at this paint. So, kind of keeping in theme with all the weapons, it's pretty much just the one solid color with some silver highlights here and there, and then you get some nice paint and weathering chips kind of going throughout the figure in various places, as you can see, like on the wrist weapon here. And then there's some scrapes on the silver portion here. Just all these little things, just like right here along this side, just really bring the figure to life, in my opinion. Down here, you get some additional little tiny Punisher head logos down here as well. And then obviously the Punisher chest plate logo, which obviously looks really very nicely done. I honestly do think it's a bit redundant, in my opinion, though, to have the helmet and the chest piece printed with the logo. I get keeping in theme with having the, Punisher logo on the chest as Punisher traditionally does. And I guess making the helmet the same way makes sense, just looks cool. But I gotta say, from a design perspective, this is not nothing against Hot Toys or anything. It's just kind of redundant, but it does look cool, and I totally understand why they would do it. But again, a little bit redundant. But nevertheless, I think it looks great regardless. Just saying there. Then on the back, same deal here, but you get a lot more the silver highlights coming throughout. And like I'm telling you, man, with the silver highlights and everything, it really, even though, like, yeah, arguably it's just like two rather boring colors, right? Just like black and silver. It looks awesome. Like it pops. It looks great. You get like I said, the little like nicks and everything just really bring the thing to life. And what I love most about this figure is actually like the overall scale of him. Like he's beefy. Like he has nice thick legs. Like he is a big beefy boy. Like look at his back plate there popping off. And then obviously, like I said, the sheer ingenuity of these die-cast Punisher, War Machine, Iron Man figures, whatever you want to, whichever one, pick your poison there. It's incredible. So like I would highly recommend having one just for the manufacturing, architecture of the figure. They're amazing. Like for instance, the shoulder pad completely moves off like this, so you can get like full range of motion and put it wherever. Like you can see, like look at that. You can pretty much completely bring the thing down here, pop it up, and then it looks like normal again. Like just the sheer ingenuity in these things is incredible. Not only that though, so that has its own hinge there for articulation, but like you can also pull this out so it has its own hinge joint in there where you get even more swivel articulation coming in through the shoulder plate. So it's just like you wouldn't think it because you're like getting a die cast figure, right? Like it's all metal. Like how posable would it really be? How much articulation will it really have? But I'm telling you, like this thing, in all honesty, has like more articulation than a lot of these standard plastic body figures do. Like it's insane. And like I said before, with the kind of off the top of the video when I was talking about the head, it has its own swivel joint for the neck, but then also has one for the head. So you get a very, very good range of motion here. Like you can pretty much, I mean, put him. You, if you had something to hold him, you could easily have him in a flight pose with like no issue here, and it looks like believable, like he's looking upward. So I mean, it's really, like I said, just again, man, the structural engineering behind this thing and any of these War Machine, Punisher, Iron Man, War, whatever, so you know what I'm talking about, is totally worth buying it themselves. So again, as just some other small things here, like down towards these little things, like you got like different movement here in the just the ankle joint, so you can move up all these like different brake flap kind of things. But like the thing is with these, it allows you to kind of get like really awkward angles, but then the pieces will move with it, so it looks natural. You don't lose any like you don't have anything weird like popping out to like lose the overall shape of the figure. Like for instance, if you want to like move his leg up, these move with it. Like so this little piece here has its own separate hinge of articulation and it can like move and be flush with the figure. Same for the hip. So like it's moved out like on its own right there, like insane. And then obviously you just, if you want a more clean look and you want his legs straight, they just pop right back down into place. And the shoulders move on their own too, like, you know, so you can move them wherever they want. It'll kind of go with it, but it allows you to really get him into, you know, any angle you want him to be in and still make it look good. Like it looks natural, I guess is the best way to really put it. So other than that, though, that's another like kind of cool thing. For one, like he has a lot of like upper torso movement. You got swivel there. But then if you've noticed this like seam that goes around here on his body, so this actually can punch in entirely. And so it takes a little bit of work when you first get it, but this actually pops up. So you just pull up on his torso and it allows you to like get some additional like swivel. I highly, highly, highly recommend if you do get one of these figures, or I assume really any other die cast figure like an Iron Man or War Machine, go through the instructions, because they do like give you a lot of information like about like being able to move this guy, his torso section, and like how far you can move it and things like that. So definitely look at that. So now let's get into the one issue I had, and then we'll kind of give the rest of the breakdown here. So you see this little ball joint here for the minigun. This is just one small, like individual piece on its own. It's not. It's like its own little, you know, tiny centimeter size piece. Like this essentially would pop out, right? So that's what kind of happened is this ball joint for this piece was actually very snug. It didn't pop in there very easily. So literally just by me trying to push this thing on, it snapped off. So be very careful, very, very careful trying to put this on. And there's really not too much you can do to get around it. Like you just have to try to counterbalance the weight. But I mean, I was barely really pressing on it, but as you can see, like it doesn't really want to go in. Like you actually have to push pretty damn hard to get this ball joint on here. So that snapped off on me. Now you can't tell. I was able to get some Gorilla Glue and put a very, very small amount on there to where, because you know, Gorilla Glue, if you've ever used it, it kind of foams up. Used a very, very thin amount. So this should be good now. Shouldn't pop off and have any issues for me. And I haven't had any problems ever since I did it. But nevertheless, you definitely want to be careful trying to get that thing on, because it is snug, but it does fit. So there's that. And then, like I said, being able to swivel this around. This is the back plate here. So now that it's over on this side, that pretty much gives me some more range of motion to have it go kind of more towards inward, I'd say. So with that, but then you can just turn the thing on the back a different direction to get more angles elsewhere. So then this guy just pops right down inside the back here. There's its own little peg, goes right in there. And like I said, you can pop it in right there, just like idle on the shoulder. Then it can come up and just sit really flush with the body there, like that. You can have it come full up and like go over here, full swivel. Very cool. Really like that. Now, there is a lot of LEDs in here, like I mentioned. And this one, I always complain that I love the LED features. I'm very glad they always include them, but they're often quite cumbersome in how to actually like get to them to actually turn the LED lights on when they have them. I gotta say, for this guy, they're probably the easiest to get to and turn on and off the LED features. So, for instance, to turn the eyes on, all you do is pop off this head plate. You pop the batteries in there, turn it on, and there his eyes are on. Like, very simple to get to. They glow red. The only thing I do wish kind of with this one is that the rest of the LED lights are yellow, they're white. I would have kind of rather seen them be all red, even if it's not kind of how it would technically be. I just think it would have looked cooler having them all be red, but that's just me. And then the other LED section that you get to is this section here on the back. Just pops right off as well. Then you flop that on, and this is one actual kind of complaint I have with this. So you flip the switch on, and that's fine. But then, despite me having all these lights on, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. You can't see this LED light at all. This LED light's down here, okay? And this doesn't line up with like the eyes for it to shine through, like at all. Like even if, like I said, if there was no lights on right now, when you have this here, you cannot see that that LED is on unless you're looking completely underneath, like you're looking down at it like this. Then you can see that it's there. I mean, elsewise though, you would have no idea that this is there. That is like my kind of one complaint. But then you have some more like some circuitry here, and this is like this is actually casted on the mold of the figure and then painted too. So there is actual texture to this. I like that they included it, but again, like you just can't see it. So I find that to be like kind of an odd choice to where I don't know, maybe they should have taken some liberties and like just moved it slightly up so that the light would be exposed a little bit more or something. I don't know. I don't really care because I don't really go through and turn the lights on myself anyway when I have them posed, but nevertheless, the last LED feature here is actually for both of the hands, and they're quite easy to get to as well. These wrist cannons just pop off fairly simply. There's just one little rectangular joint there, but then the batteries go right in the arm, and then the on-off switch is right down here. Like I said, you can't see it with these hands on, but as you can see, you got the light right there, so it would work with all the other hands other than the fist hands. So you have that. So yeah, honestly, like I said, this figure is probably the absolute easiest to get to for, I mean, any of the Hot Toys figures I have that have any sort of LED features. This is definitely the easiest one to go. So other than that, let's wrap this up, go over just some additional articulation and get them in some poses, and then kind of give my final thoughts and everything. So, like I said, the shoulder pads earlier, they have their own separate piece here, their own hinge that they'll move with independently. So you get essentially full range of motion with the shoulder. So then you can drop down. You have the swivel there, as you can see, popping in and out there. Then he'll go all the way up. Shoulder pad will come right back down if you want it to. You can keep it out, but you essentially have absolutely no restriction in motion for the arms. You have a swivel here at the bicep as well. You have is this a double bend? Yeah, you have a double joint here on the elbow itself there. And look how seamless that is. Like, look how amazing. When you open up the arm, when you bend the elbow, look at that. Look how seamless that is, and then it closes, and you have a full sheet of armor there. Like, that is some of the stuff I'm talking about, man. The engineering and the ingenuity around these figures is incredible. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And again, you have swivel. Then you have a little bit of a up and down or back and forth swivel. Then, like I said, you pull up on this and you can actually get a little bit more crunch too. So you can get, I think they say it's about 45 degrees worth of crunch you can get by doing that. So then the legs also, they don't go out as much. There is armor in the way. So, but you still do get some pretty good articulation there. I mean, you get about 45 degrees out of the legs, but like I said, all this armor pops up and gets out of your way there for you, so you can get them into some dynamic poses. There is a like a bit of a swivel hinge here, actually going up and down on the thigh joint. So you do have that. Then the foot, or the feet, I suppose, they actually do have separate articulation here for the toes, which is very nice. So it lets you get them into some pretty dynamic stuff, man. You can get one, you can get them like kind of like running. Like I said, these move out with it, which again is just some of the coolest shit, dude. There's all this stuff like moving on its own. It's awesome. Then you have a double bend at the knee, as you can see right there. Bend there, bend there. And then again, the knee armor, man. Just look how seamless that is, dude. It's incredible. It looks so good. And you have some of this like more detailing here on the shoulders, or not the shoulder, right on the thigh as well. It looks really good. Like I as you can kind of probably tell, I'm absolutely like in love with this figure. It's at this point now, I was gonna say it's my only Marvel figure, but I do actually have one more. And I'll be doing an unboxing of that here shortly. So but nevertheless, that pretty much covers all the stuff with the figure himself. I'm gonna get him into some poses now. And we'll take a kind of a closer look at that, and we'll give my final thoughts on the Punisher War Machine figure. All right, guys, so there you have it. Now that we've taken a closer, nice in-depth look at the Punisher War Machine figure, let's take a look at him in some poses, kind of give my final thoughts, breakdown, ultimate recommendations, etc. So here we go here. So as you can see, he can stand all on his own, just straight up and down here, nothing fancy. The only attachment on him really is the upper shoulder. I could put the cannons on him here, but he's just standing there straight up and down. I got the extra arm guns on there on the bottom as well because, like I said, War Machine, you put the guns on him. Like you got to put the guns on him. I don't see why you would get War Machine and not put all the guns on him. The only thing I actually didn't have here were the little chest cannons I put on there. This here is like I told you at the top of the video that I would show you how I had it displayed currently. This is how I had them on display. At least prior to doing this kind of unboxing review, I had them sitting in the detail like that. I might change it. I probably won't though because I really like that. And as you can see, the little head sculpt sitting down there, all on on that little freaking I don't know, little riser thing I found or whatever. It looks great just sitting there. So here we go. I had him here with just, standing straight up and down, but with the Frank Castle head sculpt on, holding the helmet. And that's where those little articulated fingers come in handy there because I got it just cut perfectly right around there. Just holding the head up as you can see, or the head, holding the helmet as you can see. Really, and like I said, man, I absolutely love this figure, and I've said it a million times, but just the sheer craftsmanship on these die-cast Iron Man or War Machine style figures is phenomenal. Like it's absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, with the articulation you get on them is like crazy. Like you wouldn't expect this full metal figure to be able to move like honestly, like, better than, like, some regular plastic body figures. Like, it's honestly incredible. Like, if you're on the fence about getting one of these at all, like, any sort of Iron Man or War Machine figure, if you have your eyes set on one, I would highly recommend getting one just to have one and experience the craftsmanship behind it more so than anything. But I went with this one, like I said, they were running a deal on Sideshow. It's kind of a twofer, you get Punisher and War Machine in one, and it's a nice, thick, beefy boy. Like, it's a big boy. It's not like the which one was it? Like, one of the more recent, War Machine figures, he had, like, little tiny legs on him. It was like these little legs, and he was, like, kinda big and beefy up top, but then he had these little legs, and, like, he's not like that. He is nice and proportionate all the way around. It looks like there is a human being inside of the figure. Like, it's I don't know if I wanna say anatomically correct because it's a freaking suit of armor, but, like, it looks like there's actually a person inside of it, and I like that. Like, I like all the little details, it's incredible, Again, just be careful if you do get this one in particular, putting that minigun on the top right corner on that ball joint, that thing snapped off. It was an easy fix, and you can't even tell that, like, you wouldn't know. If anything, now it's even stronger than it was before. 'Cause I have had to pop it on and off a couple times just to, like, get him in different poses, but especially while doing this video, and, like, there's no give on it at all anymore, so because when it did snap off, you could see, like, they had a very, very, very small amount of glue on there holding it, so I put a little bit more on there, and it was Gorilla Glue, so it's a little bit stronger, so I haven't had any issues with it. The LED features are really cool, they all look really good. Unfortunately, with, like, these videos and, like, having all these bright lights shining down on it, you really can't I can't really showcase the LED features on them too well without having to, like, turn all the lighting down, but then you can't see anything. It's a bit of a hassle to, even get it to look good, so I don't really bother ever trying to do too much LED, like, light up feature stuff because most of the time, especially with, like, this, it's always very subtle anyway. Like, my biggest gripe would definitely just be, like, it's not really a gripe, but if I could change anything, I would have liked to have had that arc reactor LED, 1, be red. I would have rather had all the LEDs be red to match the eyes, but I would like that, one on the arc reactor, the chest portion, to actually kind of illuminate the eyes a little bit better. Like, I would have almost even liked to have seen it kind of forego the reality of the arc reactor just being a tiny, like, light there, because, like, that's how it would look. I would trade that just to have the eyes on the Punisher chest piece logo, like, there, just completely light up red. I think that would have been dope. Like, if those eyes on the chest piece just lit up red along with his, that would have been awesome. Like, even though, like, that's not how it would have technically been because the arc reactor is just the one little light, and I get that. But it would have looked really cool. So I would have rather had that. But otherwise, I love the figure. I think this thing's amazing. No regrets buying it at all. As I said, it's really my only Marvel figure I have. I have one MCU figure now that my wife just got for me as a, like, early Father's Day present, so I'll probably be doing an unboxing of that here in the coming weeks. So, but speaking of unboxings, we do all of our, like, if I get new figures in, I'll do sort of like preview unboxings live on stream, and we stream every Friday. So come, back here, right here on the YouTube channel around 8:30, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I normally have it scheduled in advance, so you'll see it if you're subscribed and all that. So again, if you like the video here and you want to see more of these statue reviews, every Wednesday is when or not statue reviews, but figure reviews. Not limited to just statues by any means, obviously. I've been doing my Hot Toys collection here lately. So every Wednesday, look out for the collectible reviews. And then every Monday, we have our show, Honest and Uneducated. You can submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. If you haven't seen it before, there's a whole playlist of it on the channel here. We talk movies, movie news, video games, comic books, collectibles, like just all sorts of fun stuff like that. If you don't have time to always watch it on the YouTube channel, like I said, the show drops every Monday, but it also there's an audio only version of it as well, so you can get it on Spotify, iTunes, whatever you listen to podcast on. Just search Honest and Uneducated and go subscribe to it there. And again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you let me know in the comments, have you picked up do you have any die-cast hot toy like Iron Man or War Machine? And if you have a couple of them, which one's your favorite? Did you pick up the Punisher War Machine one? Like I said, I went with that one because, one, they had the deals running on sideshows, so it was pretty much the cheapest I would ever have the opportunity to even get that style of figure. So I went ahead and got it because it looked awesome. It had all the extra accessories and attachments with the gunfire, all the extra guns and stuff on him, and it's a two-in-one. It's Punisher and it's War Machine. So, like, I'm good on that front. I've been thinking about getting a John Bernthal head sculpt as well to put just in the case with both, just to have kind of both. I haven't decided yet if I want to or not, but I may end up doing that. If I do, I'll let you all know how it looks. I'll post something on social media or something. So speaking of which, you can follow me just at Sir Rob Bifo. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, share it, all that sorts of fun stuff. Then again, Monday's our show, Honest and Uneducated. Wednesday, all the collectible reviews go up. And then Friday, come hang out with us on stream. We talk hot toys, play some games. There it is. That's pretty much it. So Until next time, guys, thanks again for watching and take care.